Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to check the fresh release from Miniart, and it's a kit in 1/35 scale. And what we have here is STUG 3 Ausf.G, so it's a vehicle from May and June 1943 kit production. And this is not an interior kit, so for some modders it will be even more interesting because they will be able to focus on the external features of this vehicle. And of course what I have here on the table, it's the final shape of this release, so you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. The kit number is mentioned here, it's 31341, and it should be already available, so in case you would like to get it ASAP, you can get it in Model Max. And as for the box size, you can notice that the design and the overall size is typical for such release from Miniart, so here is comparison with my hand. We have really nice box art here. On the side you'll find also some information about the manufacturer, some safety advices, and on the opposite side you can see also the mention of the cartograph because decals are printed there, and we have also 5 marking options here, which are quite interesting, I would say, because as you can see we have a really good variety in terms of the camouflages and the colors, so you will definitely find something interesting for your vehicle. And as you can see, that's a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. So all frames are sealed into this one plastic bag, and also we have assembly manual on the bottom, so I will just move it aside, open the plastic bag and check the parts with you. And in the meantime, while I'm opening this bag, I can also remind you that you can check the previous versions as well. So I checked them on the same YouTube channel which you are watching at the moment, and they're definitely worth taking a look, especially if you would like to have a nicely detailed STUG. And in a big scale or the small scale, Miniart still has something to offer for you, so that's why I'm recommending to take a look. And also I've assembled the smaller one in 1/72 scale, so that's also something worth taking a look because the kit itself was really nice, and I highly recommend it for all fans of the small scale. So I've opened the plastic bag finally, and here's the first thing which we have on the top. It's the envelope with Miniart logo, so usually they pack the PE threads here, and this kit is not an exclusion from such thing. So we have 2 PE threads actually. So I will start with the smaller one, so here we can zoom in a bit and check this PE thread. So as you can see here, we have mostly external parts and also the special nameplate here, which is quite a nice touch because you can use it for some diorama stand or model stand, so definitely a good thing to have for your build. And also, as you remember, we have the external armor plates, so here they are, and they are coming as the PE metal parts, so this is definitely a good thing because such parts are easier to modify, and usually it is also a good, I would say, thing to play with some damage on them, maybe bent panels, maybe something with torn metal, or in this sense, you know, and it's something what you cannot replicate with the plastic, not that easily, and it will not look as convincing as with those metal parts, in my opinion. Next we continue with another plastic bag, so again I'm opening my scissors, so just give me a second, because separate plastic bag is used for the clear parts, and here we have clear parts and decals. So first of all, this transparent sprue will be handy for various periscopes on the vehicle, and as you can see, molding quality is really great, so it's just a matter of installing them and masking them somehow, because now those of you who have the experience with Miniart kits, you know that they do not pack any masks in the kit. Here we continue with cartograph decals, so we have all necessary symbols for 5 marking options, as you remember. Printing quality is really good, so if camera will focus now, you can see what I'm talking about, so it's just a matter of careful application, and usually cartograph decals are quite good in that. Next we start with the first gray plastic sprue, so here we have Pioneer tools, and I guess I should zoom out a bit. So here we have several types of the Pioneer tools, some of them are molded together with the clamps, and you can also replicate the clamps with the PE part, so it will be your choice whether you would like to go this way. Obviously the PE styling or PE way will take a bit more attention, but the final result should be a bit more refined. Next we continue with this white sprue, so here we have the various small panels for the hull, and as you can see the molding quality is really good, and it's just a matter of being careful with these thin parts. But as far as I remember, you can replace the thin parts with a metal wire, so it will be your decision whether you would like to go and use some thin metal wire, which will be a bit more convincing in appearance, but it will be also tricky to install. Next, there are some hull panels. So here you can see the roof, also the rear panel, and also some parts for the main gun. And if I flip over these parts, they also have the features on the opposite side, because this is also something what is used for the interior kit. So that's why these parts should have the interior features, but here they will not be employed because, as you remember, we have on the exterior thing. And next we continue with the sprue for the main gun parts. So even though we do not have a lot of interior parts, these ones will be actually inside, and that might be handy in case you plan to open the hatches, because this main gun will be visible through the main hatches. And as you can see, we have the guiding pins inside, so it's also a good thing to have. Next we have absolutely identical plastic sprues. So I will show you only one, because those ones are dedicated to the track parts or track rings. And as you can see, these look decent, so it's just a matter of connecting them together. It might be a bit tedious procedure, I would say, but I think the final result should be worth it. So just be calm, and with some patience you'll get a good result. Next we continue with the sprue for the hull parts. I'm just checking where they will go, but the most interesting thing here is the separate hatches, of course, because it's a must-have in 1/35 scale, so definitely a good thing to have in this release as well. Next we continue with the small sprues for the tracks, but I've just shown you, so I will move them aside and I will show you this sprue with the hull panels again. So here we have again the separate hatches, and this is really useful thing for placing the figurines, so definitely do not overlook it, and maybe try to find some tank man. I know that Miniart actually produces the suitable figurine set, so it might be a good idea to get it. Here we have the rear panel, so this one is for the engine compartment, and again we have the large panels molded separately, so you can expose the engine. And this is actually good for the interior kit, but here we do not have the engine, as you remember, so it's a bit bigger question whether you would need this feature. Now I'm opening or removing some track sprues because they were scattered around the box, but here is another sprue with the side skirts. So as you can see, we have really nice external features, and if I flip over these parts, they are also detailed from the opposite side, so it's not like the features are skipped where they are not visible. And this is also good because such design is something what is important to have on 1/35 scale kit. Next we have here interconnection between small sprues, so I will zoom out a bit. I guess these panels will be actually used for one of the versions of this vehicle. We also have some parts for the external armor plates. Here we have Miniart tools, and again you can see that we have version with the pre-molded clamps, and we have one clean, which is for the PE parts. Here we also have the main gun, so it's quite simple, but this design works so far. At least what I saw in the assembled models, they were quite nice. And next we have the panels for the superstructure. So here we have also smart design, because as you can see, these panels will be self-aligning between each other. We also have really good welding seams imitation here, and if I flip it over again, we have some interior features which will not be necessary in this version of the kit. Next we continue with the road wheels. So here we have them supplied on several sprues. So for example, this sprue comes on 4 pieces, and I will just zoom in so that you can see what we are talking about here. So these are road wheels with really nice external features, because we also have some pre-molded details on the rubber sections, and it's something what should be visible with the careful weathering. Next we also have, okay, so the drive sprocket sprue is actually connected with other sprues, so it will be a bit tricky to show it to you, but I will try to do it this way. So here you can see that we actually have the connection between the small sprues, and well, it's something what is quite okay. You just have to be careful in order not to use the separate frames, because the same type of frames, for example, those road wheels, they are also molded separately, so it's important to keep track of those things. And okay, I will move this one aside. Next, we also have the separate sprue with the muzzle brakes for the main guns. So I will just zoom in so that you can see it. And it's good to have those many options. So it will be definitely handy for some different versions of the main gun on this STUG. Okay. Of course, the ultimate, I would say, upgrade is the metal part. But it will require some additional investment from you, so definitely think it through whether it's worth it getting such upgrade. And next, I will show you the final plastic sprue. So here is the final plastic sprue, which is also one of the biggest. Here we have the lower hull section parts. Again, these are panels, of course, so you should be tracking their alignment between each other. And here inside you will find again some features, but as I said, they're not visible unless you try to open all of the hatches, but then it's better to get the interior version instead. And one more thing is the assembly manual, of course. So this one comes in terms of the large color printed brochure, so I will just zoom out a bit. And here you can see on the cover that we have the short list of the features, pretty much the same stuff as what we discussed already. Here we continue with the first two marking options. So this vehicle is from France 1943, another one from Eastern Front Autumn 1943. Next page brings us the parts map, and assembly process starts with the lower hull section here. So as you can see, there are a lot of options. For example, there you can see the different armor panels, and it might be good to get some reference maybe, or at least to understand what you have to have on your vehicle. And as you can see, straight away we are working with plenty of P parts, so that's why it's better to have a good tweezers and also P bender. Next, we continue with the superstructure assembly, which gets installed onto the lower hull. Here you can see the suspension arms. We have also the machine gun getting assembled with the special armor shield. Here we have the rear engine compartment. So as I said, we have the separate hatches. But again, I'm not sure why you would need to open them unless you have the engine inside. But as you can see, external features are really fine because we have, for example, various clamps molded or copied out of P parts. We have also the clamps for the tools and accessories, even for the spare tracks. For the towing cable, you will have to source your own metal wire. And then we assemble also the main gun, as you remember, with the separate muzzle brake. Here we continue with the spare tracks again. And note that some assembly options are specific for the particular marking. So definitely check markings and decide which one you will be copying. And here we continue with two more markings. So this one is from Ukraine Autumn 1943. Another one is from Ukraine Spring 1944. Quite interesting that we have only the middle armor section here in place, and another one from Eastern Front 1944, and again heavily weathered camouflage, which might be fun to replicate in 1/35 scale, of course. So as for this kit, it should be already available, so you can get it in Modelimex, and of course I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.